Well, hello everybody and welcome to MikeyTaylorGaming, where I have for you guys today, finally, the long-awaited next episode of Glitch Picnic. Today we're going to be taking a look into the world of Sonic R glitches for the PC, and this game is so full of awesome and decent glitches that it took me 10 months to make this episode, if you can believe that. I wouldn't believe it because it's not true, but, you know, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer to watch this, so without further ado, let's get on with this, and I hope you all enjoy. Sonic R is known for its twists, turns, and what can only be described as very questionable track layouts. Just look at these maps for a second and then answer this question for me. Do you think that you could find all of the hidden coins and Chaos Emeralds on your first playthrough of this game, despite these hectic routes? Yeah, me neither, but that's not a bad thing, it just means that you've got to spend more time exploring these crazy places. Not only are the tracks pretty confusing, but there are so many distractions around them that I sometimes find it hard to even concentrate on the race properly. I mean, the big ring doors are way too tempting to ignore because you just have to know what's behind them. Not to mention the hidden alleys and obvious turns that you can take off the main parts of the tracks. Who wouldn't want to go off-road in a racing game? Please tell me that. Anyway, a game with tracks this confusing is bound to have some glitches in it, right? And speaking of bounds, for the first glitch, let's take a look at how to get out of them in the first track of the game, Island Resort. As you come around the first corner of the track, you'll see a waterfall dead ahead that has a hidden coin in the tunnel behind it. You probably wouldn't notice anything strange about this tunnel whatsoever if you're playing the game like a normal, everyday person, but if you turn around at the exit and bump Sonic into the pillar, it won't be long before he just pops right on through it. How easy is that? You can even slip straight through the pillar without bumping into it if you're lined up perfectly with the dodgy collision. Talk about effortless. I'm going to have to say that this is the easiest out of bounds we've ever seen on Glitch Picnic, which is quite an achievement when you consider Spyro Reignited, where you can just walk through the wall at the very beginning of the game in the Artisan's homeworld. It's fair to say that the out of bounds in Sonic R isn't going to be as impressive as exploring an out of bounds galaxy, but there's definitely still a few odd things to see. Unfortunately, there's an invisible wall that blocks us from getting any further into the Wasteland, but as we've seen in the out-of-bounds areas of a ton of other games, objects and scenery that you come across out here will have no collision whatsoever, since you're never meant to be out here. You can take full advantage of this by walking into the ring tunnels from the wrong side of the wall. I've got to admit, at first I thought I was trapped in here because you have to have the right amount of rings to actually open the door, even if you're on the inside. Then I realised that rings respawn, so we're not trapped in here forever. Woohoo! Another thing you can find out here is a signpost that no one should ever be able to read, and a blue balloon from the multiplayer mode of the game. Just follow the invisible wall around the edge of the track and you can't miss them over in the distance. Another totally pointless thing to do out here is teleport up to higher ground if you walk back in bounds under a raised surface like a hill. Ready? That is just crazy! We've already seen Mario playing around with the instant transmission technique in Galaxy 2, now it's time for the characters of the Sonic universe to have a try, I guess. At first, I thought this could have been some kind of failsafe that puts the character back on solid ground if they've fallen under the floor, but that doesn't really make much sense when you think about it, since you can't get trapped if the level boundaries are one-way collision, so maybe some of you glitch experts out there can help me explain it in the comments. With all these pointless glitches, you aren't going to believe me when I say that this glitch is actually kinda useful for something. I mean, what's a racing game without a glitched lap skip? It's not a racing game at all if you ask me. If you go through the pillar and then follow the invisible wall to the left until you get behind the start line, you can run back in bounds and over it to finish a lap, which pretty much skips the entire track. Completing a glitched lap like this is surprisingly slower than completing laps normally. Seriously, you can usually get a time of around 20 seconds per lap on this track if you're using snowy weather where you can run over the ice, but I will admit that this is 100 times easier than playing the race like normal, so you can get first place even if you suck at controlling this game. Now, I'm not telling you to cheat, but the option is there if you're no good at this game. If you're gonna use this one to cheat, then I guess you might as well use it to beat Metal Sonic in the race to unlock him as well. Doing this features a minor glitch of its own too. It might not be obvious right away since it's probably not something that you're looking for, but if you're in the lead after using the glitched lap, then your position will always be shown as second place for some reason. Luckily, this is just a visual glitch, and if you're the first to finish the final lap, it'll still class you as winning, so this proves that you can be awful at the game and still unlock Metal Sonic at least. Your position will be glitched out in the normal races too, but it's not as in your face, so it's even easier to miss. Now that we've seen the one and only helpful glitch in Sonic R, I guess we should get back to the pointless ones. We all know that pointless glitches are by far the best. Usually anyways, I'm not so sure about a couple of these ones. If we take a trip over to the Regal Ruins track and head through the 20 ring door near the start of it, we can find a Chaos Emerald and, much more excitingly, a double loop. This might sound sarcastic, but I'm being serious. The thing about double loops in this game is that instead of running all the way around them twice, you can run around them once and stop in the middle to see some strange physics. Like with Amy, you can drive her car near vertical without it flipping over, which is pretty impressive honestly. Driving the car at different angles can edge her up the loop too, but for some reason without momentum she can't quite collect these rings. She just drives straight through them instead. It's pretty odd. If you're playing as Sonic, you can get him to stand on the loop in a similar way, but this gets a lot better if you wait for Robotnik to make his way through the shortcut and let him attack you. When a rocket hits Sonic, he'll be locked into his hurt position but can still move around as normal. It's like he's driving Mermaid Man's invisible boatmobile in here. It's just a little difficult to see with all the awkward camera angles. It's a real shame that the invisible boatmobile can't be used through the entire track because that actually would have been pretty awesome. You can escape from the loop and any glitchiness just by gaining speed and running around it like normal. Sonic will even start to bounce as he makes his way over the final section of the loop. Since it's easy enough to try for yourselves, why don't you test this one out with other characters in the game? Sonic can't be the only one with a problem like this to see. I'm pretty sure of it. There's another physics glitch that you can trigger on slopes as any character that can spin, and it's just as pointless as the loop glitch. As long as you're moving forwards or backwards on a slope, you can activate a spin and keep it going forever. You can move forward by holding forward, or you can go backwards by facing your character uphill. If you prefer though, you can put them sideways on the slope and let them spin like that for as long as you want without moving them at all. This is fun for around 10 seconds before you realise you're just wasting time playing around on a slope. I suppose it's better than the spring glitch though. I guarantee that you'll be having no fun after 0.2 seconds if you hold down after bouncing off a spring. Just listen to this. Yeah, I think it's time to take a look at the rest of the good glitches this game has to offer. I'm pretty sure you guys aren't going to argue with that. Heading over to Radical City, there's another out of bounds that's slightly harder to pull off, but you can use it to get glitch laps that are under 10 seconds each. That's a little faster than the one over in Island Resort, and it actually saves you time. For this one, you need to head past the 50 ring gate, taking the main route, and you'll be able to see where the diversion would normally drop you back onto the course. Fun fact about this one is that you can completely ignore the ring door and use Sonic to double jump up here to collect the Emerald without spending a single ring. This is, coincidentally, the part of the track where we get out of bounds too, and it's basically the exact same way that you jumped up to get the Emerald. Instead of jumping all the way onto the upper track, you've got a double jump so that Sonic barely lands inside the barrier above. Once you've eventually jumped into the right position, you can just walk off the track and into the Wasteland. Because this course is more oddly designed than Island Resort, you've got to be a little more careful where you're walking because it's a lot easier to end up back in bounds. But careful exploring is rewarded because, look, there's another balloon out here. What are you doing here, you crazy thing? It's gotta be a lonely life out here. For a balloon. If you can find your way around to the section that's underneath the start line, then you can use the map to judge where Sonic is standing and run over the start line from underneath the track to start the next lap. There's definitely some kind of positioning to this, but if you manage to trigger the next lap, then you're free to run around in circles down here to finish the rest of the race quickly. Even if you end up missing the lap trigger a couple of times, I'd say that you're still in for a great chance of winning. You cheater. It's a treat to watch all of this in the replay afterwards too. The camera has no idea what it's supposed to be doing, which really makes for some fun visuals. Heading back over to the Regal Ruins track, there's another easy out of bounds you can trigger after going through the 20 ring door that we used earlier. This path is turning out to hold a goldmine of glitches. It's well worth those rings. If you stand on the steps here whilst holding forward and adjust your angles slightly in either direction, you'll eventually slip right through a gap in the collision between the steps in the same way that we got through the pillar in Island Resort. This is likely to be the least interesting out of bounds in the game though, since you can't find anything different or weird out here whatsoever. So it's safe to say that the next out of bounds in the track Radiant Emerald is a much better way to end the episode. There's only one character that can get out of bounds in this track, and surprisingly, it's the character who has the biggest hitbox in the game. I'm talking about Amy. This isn't the only track that Amy can get out of bounds in, since she's got unique ways to escape from Island Resort and Radical City too, but of all characters, Amy is the only one that can squeeze out of bounds in Radiant Emerald. Impressive stuff. You can use her massive car, her boost ability, and a little luck to push up against the pillar to the left at the start of the race and escape from the track. Just jam her up in the corner, press the boost button, and then tap right. If you get lucky and the car gets caught on the pillar in just the right way, then she'll fling through the wall and down into the dark, out of bounds void below. Sometimes she'll end up clipping through the wall and landing on the track below, which isn't ideal since your lap won't even count from here, but it means that you're pretty close to getting it working properly. Once you do eventually manage to escape into the void, the goal down here is to reach the loop on the left that you can just about see in the background. But you've got to be careful because just like we saw on Island Resort, some parts of the track will teleport you back up onto it if you drive underneath, which really isn't what we want. It might still save time, but not as much as the full lap skip. If you can make it over to the loop, just drive onto the track and you can complete the rest of the lap like normal, skipping a huge section out of the biggest course in the game. Get good at every part of this glitch and you can turn a couple of minute lap into a 30-second one. You can do this glitch for every lap in the race, but like I said, it's much harder than it sounds or looks to get this clip right first time every time. If you want to practice it and go for the world record, then be my guest. But I've got to start working on the next video, so that it doesn't take 10 months to release again. As always guys, thank you so much for watching until the end and supporting the channel. I really didn't expect there to be so many glitches in Sonic R, but in a way I'm pretty glad there were because it's one of those nostalgic games for me and it just needed to be covered at some point. I really want to give a huge shout out once again to the top Patreon supporters of the month, helping to keep me motivated and to cover all of these great, pointless, amazing glitches in video games. This month they are Max Wegner, Himdog, Multimedia Nerd, and Talentless Hack. All four of these guys have been supporting for such a long time even through the lack of uploads, and I honestly can't appreciate it enough, so thank you. It's definitely a huge motivation to keep creating, so thanks so much to you guys. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on with the channel, then make sure to follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and click that subscribe button and notification bell so that you never miss an episode when they actually get uploaded. Promise it's not going to be 10 months until the next one. Thanks again, and I will see you all in the next video. Oh, and don't forget, I love you all. Mwah!